Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Reels and Riddims brought to you by Carry On Friends in partnership with the Style and Vibes plus the Breadfruit Media. And Reels and Riddims brings you commentary, reviews, and perspectives to what's going in the world of TV, film, concerts with enough beer, plenteous vibes, as only Michaela and I can. And this is all through the lens of Caribbean culture, Caribbean American, immigrant, and first generation experiences. Michaela, what is guaning?
Wagwan, me people, them. Carrie, Wagwan.
Plenty is guaning, which is why this is our last episode for this season. And because there's so much to watch and we can't catch up to watch everything that we need to watch.
And
But you
that me
don't
I
know.
said the people them have with them on the things.
And I mean, just a lot. I mean,
Yeah.
other than Caribbean films, there's a lot. But there's plenty of other stuff we want to talk about. Michaela still know what season 2 of Survival of the Thickest with the
I
good
did
up
start. I did start. I
with
did
the
start.
good up Caribbean gal Michelle Buteau.
But
Uh
oh,
and so much more stuff that we wanted to watch. So we're wrapping this season with Home Again. And did you want to tell them about what Home Again is?
yes, yes. So Home Again is a Canadian filmed drama which stars Tatiana Ali, Stephen James, and
Lyriq Bent.
Lyriq Bent, and they all essentially their names are Dunstan, Everton, and Marva. Yo, they must be good.
Everton is not
Everton,
Everton, is Everton.
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 In a Jamaica is Everton.
Yeah.
So it follows these three young people. They're all in their 20s and they get deported back home to Jamaica, to Kingston, Jamaica. And it's basically it's a fictional story, but I read that it was actually based. So the one of the writers, her name is Jennifer Holness, which she did in collaboration with her husband, Suds Sutherland. She actually had a classmate that got deported and was killed upon due to some kind of activity back home. So it inspired her to create this film and shoot it. And so we get this, interesting story that follows these three individuals, three perspectives, one coming from Canada, one coming from England, and one coming from New York. So I thought so it kind of gives the breadth of the diaspora experience from different cultural experiences, and it follows these three individuals and how they connect at the end, and their stories. And of course, it's nothing but trials and tribulation from the start time movie to the end.
I mean,
And
what
we both previously we watched it before, and then so we are now rewatching it so that we can talk about it here on Reels and Rhythms.
Boy, I may rewatch it with different lens. Okay, what threw me off again with this one, I'm so used to Lyric Bent and Tatiana Ali being the thumbnail photo for it, but right now in Amazon, Stephen James is the thumbnail photo, and
Mm-hmm.
that makes sense because his star is rising on the rise in
Mm-hmm.
terms of Hollywood.
Mm-hmm.
So it threw me off. I was like, wait, me never bookmark this. So
Mm-hmm.
I'm visually looking for that. Um, as you mentioned, the film is based on the deportee experience. And so, for anyone watching this who doesn't know what a deportee is someone who lived in one of the three areas that we spoke about, US, Canada, and the UK. And they've been sent back home. And as I started watching it, I thought that it was kind of interesting that we're talking about this in the current climate that we're in, right? And the opening credits of the movie said between 1996 and 2001, these three countries changed their immigration laws to make it easier for people who commit any form of crime, whether it's a petty crime or anything, to be deported back to their country of origin. Um, and part of why this is happening, you think of sustainability and infrastructure on the places that they're sending the deportees back to.
Mhm.
So there's so many things like, can a small island sustain the volume of people that are coming back
Mhm.
to a place where some of them may have left since they were children, as
Mhm.
in as the case of these three characters. And so they didn't really have a connection or a lot of family back home. Some of them did, two of them did, and we'll get into the precarious situations they got into. And so we know that reintegration into a country and culture that you didn't really have a connection with, because you've kind of, it's this phantom homeland type situation. You say you're Jamaican Trini wherever, but you haven't really lived there, so you really don't know how to
Mhm.
navigate life the same way. So that was something that I wanted to make sure that we call out. But anyway, so what do you think about the movie overall?
Overall, I thought it was really good. I think I enjoyed it even more. I think the first time I was just like, "Oh, this is cool," but then this one I was like, "Oh, I why didn't I watch this again?" Or but I really did. I did like it. I liked that it had the three perspectives, and then I like that all of the characters have some connection to the Caribbean. Um,
All the actors in
all the
real life had a
Yeah, in real
connection to
life
the
had a
Caribbean.
connection. So that was well done on the part of the production team. Um, and yeah, I thought that the storyline was exciting. And then I remember the brother um from Sprinter is the Don in this one. And I
Yeah.
watched Sprinter after. So I was just like, oh, this is really good that they used him. And he was actually really good playing his character as the Don because him did brutal. But yeah, what were your initial thoughts?
All right. So watching it this time around, I felt like I was more critical.
Mhm.
Like, I was like, I really, and this is just me, I really had a hard time getting past the Trini accents
Of the girl?
gr- of every of all the characters trying to be
Yeah. Yeah.
Jamaican
Well,
accent.
I think yes, I did notice that too, but then I also saw that they did the production, the
The
filming in
production was
Trinidad.
mostly in Trinidad.
Yeah. So it made sense, but yeah, particularly Everton's look a hot girl.
Yeah, she was
His
straight Trini,
Yeah,
and
she was
all of the friends were
definitely, and
Trini.
all of her friends were Trini.
Yeah. The passport
And
man was Trini, like a good chunk
yes,
of the
yes,
characters.
yes.
It's probably better with us call out the Jamaicans them, because the actual Jamaicans are a smaller amount than, but what they, even though it was filmed mostly in Trinidad, they did use B-roll that is actually Kingston,
Yes, yeah,
or
because I
parts
saw
of
a
Kingston.
couple of spots that I recognized. So I think scenery wise, you wouldn't necessarily know. But then when I looked into the production, I was like, yeah, a lot of these actors, like I think the most important one was probably Everton's girlfriend. That where it was really distinct, and the guy doing the passport. Two, I think, yeah, those were the two most distinct ones. But because it wasn't so much focused on them, I also like that they didn't try to have the actors put on an accent.
Right.
It
That's what I liked. My
Yeah.
only challenge with the character that was kind of out of place for her accent was Fifi Dobson's character,
She
Cherry.
tried, she get, remember, at 2012 this come out, she didn't give a good effort.
Yeah.
I think she get A for effort, execution, maybe not so much. But is she of Caribbean descent? I don't
Yes.
know.
Yes.
I know she's Canadian, but I
Yeah.
didn't know
The
what is her
Jamaica.
background.
So, well, Tatiana Ali, her father's Trini, he's
And
Douglas, and her mother
her
is
mom is
Panamanian.
Panamanian. Yes.
Um, Stephan James, Jamaican parentage on both side.
Yeah.
Lyriq is
Lyric.
the same, and one of Fifi's parents is Jamaican. I think her father.
Okay, okay. I honestly, I totally forgot she was in it. I didn't even remember her character. I didn't. I think that was the most, and I saw her immediately and I recognized her. I was like, oh, that's Fifi Dobson.
Hmm.
And I'm like,
And
oh, she never know how, compared to some of the other things that we have seen and heard, and it's been really, really bad. I think she give it a good effort, but it never did exactly. Like there were some instances where it was just like, oh gosh, but then there were some where like when she wasn't speaking too much, she was fine.
yeah, yeah, it
When she
was.
give her like a one word answer,
There
and
are
then
moments
you
it was
also like,
rough.
I think I also don't have visibility to like how they coached her in terms of the accent to, so yeah.
And then we also had CCH Pounder, who plays
Yes.
Everton's mother.
Everton.
Everton. I want to say so much, but I don't know we're gonna give it no matter. Everton go in the car and back out the English pound and the man to 30 pound. I'm like, my gosh. So it's just glaring that he didn't really. I mean, first of all, ever a mother sent him to Jamaica to go to Uncle Sammy house and squatter take over Uncle Sammy house, then capture Uncle Sammy house, and then take away in luggage. I mean, I think they did a decent job of showing various scenarios in
Hmm.
where people could land. Not, I mean, there's the typical them get back into badness, which is kind of what Dunstan was
Dunstan.
doing.
Yeah.
But in the case of Everton, I think that was the hardest because he was really there by himself and found
Hmm.
himself homeless
Yeah.
because not even his mother, I mean, the mother thought that she was sending him back to some uncle, and nobody was at the uncle house. And so kind of seeing him become homeless, get addicted to drugs, was I think the hardest thing to see. The Tatiana Ali's character, you can get a sense that you can see how that happened, when the uncle Paul Campbell, how could we not recognize that Paul Campbell was in his role? I'm gonna tell you, you see the one Paul Campbell. I'm gonna tell you, say the type of roles in play. You can say okay, the common thread in all of these roles, except for Lunatic, is some villainous character, but the variety of villain, we have to give it up to
Hmm.
him
Hmm.
on him
Hmm.
playing this role. Um, so that was interesting, and like all the different scenarios that people that you can find
Hmm.
was happening in um in the movie. I don't want to give it away because I really want people to go and support the thing. You can watch it on Amazon via All Black or whatever. But the level of violence, which is kind of, and I think this is what the film was trying to do. The minute you're labeled a deportee, you're automatically considered a violent offender because typically you're deported for some criminal activity. Um, in a Everton case, him have a friend, they must and catch him with marijuana on him, and that was what happened to him. And so the difficulty in really trying to reintegrate into the society there by getting a job, nobody wants to give them a job.
Hmm.
And, you know, because it's like when you're applying for jobs here, they say that you shouldn't be discriminated based on your past, you know um incarceration, right? But it still happens, right? And
Hmm.
so because in the case of Marva, who's played by Tatiana Ali, who is really trying to get a job but is finding it difficult, and then sometimes being blackmailed
Hmm.
because of their status as a deportee.
Yeah, I'm glad in that scenario that she kind of held her own. She's like, it was that transition of figuring it out. Like she kind of had to flex a little bit of what she knew she could bring to the table so that she could keep her job. And she, at that point, very desperate to really reconnect with her children. I think that was probably one of the heartbreaking parts of her story. And then Everton's story, it was heartbreaking because he was just so clueless. Like you could tell he had been to Jamaica, but that clearly was not his home, because as soon as he got into the cab, one, the other scenario was the hotel. He checked into $100 a night hotel and ordered a room service. So he clearly didn't have a clue that he was going to be here this long. This was practically going to become his new home. And he just could not. And even when he had a little bit of good news for his mom about getting a job, he was like crushed by the idea that he won't be able to come back, right, to his where he grew up in England. So I think that probably it was an interesting kind of experience to kind of observe, especially in comparison to Dunstan, because Dunstan is a bad man in New York, and him reach out Kingston and continue with it. Well, you can tell that there's a part of him that doesn't want to get caught up, because he really does want to go back to New York, even if it's illegally. He wants to
Yo,
get back.
Michaela, me not try get pinched down here.
Yeah, me not try, but he has no other skills, so he has to work. And his cousin had gotten dipped multiple times
The
and had
man
gone
say,
back. He's like,
is
no, no,
it's
me there
because
for stay.
yeah. The man say it's because you and your frequent flyer miles. Me get
Yes.
dip and then me go back again and me get dip again.
He said three times is a charm. The lady said, she said, "No, man, me there for good now." So whereas he was able to kind of settle into his new life. He's like, "Well, me not gonna keep getting it. Me just I gonna do my thing, yeah." So whereas Dunstan hadn't come to that until he met Moa Fifi, but her name in the
Cherry.
Cherry
Cherry
C.
C.
Cherry C. Till he meet the love of him life, Cherry. And what her name, Cherry.
Oh cherry,
Cherry.
oh baby.
They should have had that in there.
Yes.
Um,
What else?
yeah, so I think having the three storylines and having them kind of connect, and even the connection between Marva and
Dunstan.
Dunstan, like their mothers knew each other, even though they were living. She was living in Canada, and he was living in New York. They still remembered, each other, and as soon as they saw each other, it was like family. You know what I mean? And so there was this sense of connection that they were able to kind of bring together. And poor Everton. Never have the same luck.
I think for me, Everton was so close because as he was driving out, his mom was driving in
Mm-hmm.
the taxi, and of
Mm-hmm.
course, what ended up happening to him. So, it was I kind of in it balanced it. It wasn't like, oh, there is a happy ending and everything. There isn't. And uh, I like that it kind of showed the life of other deportees in there. So
Mm-hmm.
it was
Mm-hmm.
it was it was tough
Yeah, because there
to
were a few in the mix. So the
yeah.
guy that got killed with Dunstan off a beat up. There was Jamix, the
Yes,
cousin.
yes, yes,
There
yes.
was
The guy with the pitney.
the
Well,
guy with the picnic with Everton.
yeah, at one
Um
point me say, yeah, me know, is that really his kid or am I walk with one pitney for get
And that
food?
me did I think about too. And then when I saw him leave the picnic with Everton, I think
Thought I
said just
ever
leave him gone and him now come back for the picnic.
Yeah, that's what it felt like. I'm like, wait,
Yeah.
are they using this child as a prop to get,
Yes.
stuff? But um yeah, it was interesting.
Then
So
when the man asleep, the man just take off him
the
shoes.
man
And then me I
shoes.
look on the man shoes. I'm like, but him shoes are really better than for your shoes. But you take the
Hey,
man shoes while him asleep. And then take him look a bag where him look at things in it. I'm like, yo, the people them dangerous, man. The
yeah.
people them they deal with Everton wicked.
Yeah, because they smelled the vulnerability on
Yeah.
Everton. They could see it.
Yeah.
You can tell. Um and so that's why. from the minute he landed, he was, in a very precarious position. Um,
Did you notice that the squatters that were in Everton's uncle house, and them him never find the
him
uncle.
a when bad man in the
Him and him
dance.
trench town bad man.
Yep. Bad man them in the dance. Yeah, me see it.
I
They
said,
kept
but
watching
wait.
him. I'm like, mm-mm.
I was like, I thought they were gonna see Everton and
I run him
recognize him
down.
with. Oh man! And then the poor girl,
Her mother
who
and the
her mother
cousin them
came. Mm-mm,
and beat him up. I mean,
mm-mm. She did too fast. She said she hear a UK accent and I start
yeah,
get excited.
yeah. That part was just
Me go
like,
send you to a country. That was.
I was just like, wait, so she just gone with Manso? Like, me not understand,
Mm-hmm.
but
A young
I
a
think that's
young
the
picnic
fastest
sitting.
thing he learned.
Mm-hmm.
The fastest thing he learned was, oh girl type thing, but you know,
In a way, it kind of distracted him from his situation, but at the same time, it distracted
did
him
him.
from the gravity of his situation. Like he thought he was comfortable, right? Because he was with someone who was native to the island. He made a friend, and she seemingly was into him, but he got comfortable way too quickly, and
And
it really cost him.
it sure did. And I think when she got out the picture was when he faced life the hardest, but he had to
Hmm.
get through that in order to come out on the other side of, all right, I need help type thing. Yeah, his storyline was the toughest one for sure.
And then poor Marva lose the goat them, the ram goat.
She didn't lose the goat.
Me know Sachi never lose the goat. The man, the man,
The man
the
cut
man
the
set
goat
it free
loose.
and set her up. Yo, that man did it. Paul Campbell did a great job, but him did wicked still,
Indeed,
Him,
Wiki. And then
so was that her blood uncle or was it the mom
me no
who
know.
was
The man
related to
said
her?
the
I
man
didn't
all
raise you.
yeah, I
That's
didn't
all I.
raise you. Yeah. So it's okay. Like what? And then the
I can
woman,
help you. Me can build a place for your picnic. You think some want my picnic come live here with you? No.
and then his daughter, and me just those
I
things
just couldn't.
just.
I didn't understand who was her real blood family. Was it
I
Uncle
think it was
Archie?
the uncle.
It was the uncle. That's what
Yeah.
I kind of gathered. And then the way that the daughter and I didn't gravitate to it. I didn't really understand until I saw the way the daughter looked at her when she was leaving, and she didn't really say anything to her.
Yeah, because
Um,
the daughter pick up says the
yeah,
father something, but that also tells me that if you're able to suspect something, the uncle has done something before.
before, but both the mom and the mom, his wife, and the daughter picked up on it, and
Yeah,
they're blaming her instead of blaming him.
him. Yeah. Well, he's the
He's the
provider.
provider. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So I guess that's the only person that they can take it out of.
Well, all right. So watch Home Again. Let us know your thoughts. But before we go, because this is also a season wrap up, so what is your rating for the accent?
2.
Yep, that's my rating. 222. M- oh wait, me put my rating them in a your spot. All right. For character, I gave it a 3. What say you?
Character, I would give it a 4.
Mm. Storyline, I gave it a 3.5. What does you say?
3.
Hmm.
See, now I'm like, I feel like those could enter the score for me for those could enter, like it could be 3 for character development and 4 for storyline. or vice
Yeah,
versa.
so
But I
so
can't give it both. You know what I mean?
that's why I gave the
Yeah.
storyline gets a higher score for me. Could the characters be developed a little bit more? Yes, but like this is the short and like boom boom, this is the storyline, the
Yeah.
complexities within it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I gave music 2.5. I did recognize the Barrington Levy and some other song after that. I'm like, I don't remember nothing about the music. And maybe for when them did the
Mm,
dancehall queen competition, but I don't
I
remember
thought that
nothing else about.
that segment alone was so weak. I'd give it a 1.
Yeah.
Like
Uh
that should have been the opportunity
opportunity. Yeah.
to mm, incorporate it a bit more, because the dancing was offbeat to whatever the track
Yes.
that they were dancing to was,
Mhm.
and it just felt overly. It didn't feel as
It didn't feel
authentic.
authentic.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
I
that's
I
why.
gave, yeah, the opening there were some scenes where in the opening, but like you said, that dance hall scene was an
Yeah,
opportunity to
yeah,
have the
yeah,
better music.
yeah.
And then for visual authenticity, I just gave it 2.
I think a 3. I think it's good 3.
It was all right. It's
Yeah.
just
But I mean, they got the essence of they were very distinct about even the air. Like I noticed the airport scene wasn't Jamaica, but the way that they shot it was
you could
fine.
think you could think it was
Right.
Jamaica.
You know, like
Um
the B-roll really helped it.
yeah,
The treatment of the actual film itself, like whatever filter that they used was kind of
the
gave it that
coloring.
vibrancy.
Yeah, they
And then the
deliberately go ahead.
yeah, and then like even the house going up in the hills, like they while it wasn't Jamaica, it wasn't necessarily noticeable until you read that the production was done in Trinidad.
I think they chose deliberate
Mhm.
places where it's ambiguous and it could
Yes.
be anywhere. I again, as a Jamaican, I noticed it. So when it opened up the signs on the street, I'm like, this are not no Jamaican signs that
Yeah.
would be on a street. So,
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Yeah.
um, again, in that way, but
Yeah.
it was overall. So let's see what it gets. Yo, this is probably the lowest score. It gets a 2.6. It's almost like a 3.
Yeah, bump it up to a tree.
All right, I'll give visual authenticity a 2.5. It's still like 2.65, but yeah. I because you give music 1.
Yeah. All right, me give that too. I give that too.
There's no coming back from that. Yeah, yeah, it closer to the tree.
All right.
But yeah, I think do still think it's a important watch, given where we are, understanding socially what happens to people who are deported. I mean, you had like, and these are people who had a criminal history, no matter how minor it is. Imagine people from the Windrush generation who were sent back who didn't have necessarily criminal activity, but they just said, yeah, have no official proof that you are supposed to be here. So it just shows, regardless the label or branded as a deportee,
Mm-hmm.
what that means to these people when they go back,
Yeah.
to Jamaica specifically, because this is about Jamaica. I'm not sure what happens to other Caribbean countries. So
Yeah. Yeah.
all right. And so with that, we're wrapping our season. And Michaela, what did you think of season 3? Because of season 3,
I feel like we watched a lot. I almost feel like I have to go back on, like, unless, like, I feel like we've had some really great conversations, and then the feedback has been really good from people just on our style of reviewing the things, and I think people really like that we went back and watched older things like Home Again, because they may have missed it.
Yeah.
And even though, the films were done a while ago, they are still relevant and should be um and should be watched by
Yeah,
us. Yeah.
I mean, reruns are a thing. If we watch reruns of every other movie, sitcom genre, we should be also doing rewatching
Hmm.
our,
Our
own
own stuff. Yeah.
stuff, right?
Yeah.
And I think that's important. I
Yep.
did enjoy this season. We did get a lot of feedback from the audience. We have some requests to watch and review certain projects, so we're taking the next couple months off until the next season to try to catch up and watch some of these. Um, I did try to watch A Thousand Blows and I got past maybe one or two episodes, but I couldn't. Guess who went in A Thousand Blows? Laurent from Champion. Um, yes. Um, and then the other guy who was in Small Axe. So I'm telling you, the Brits, the British Jamaican them are all then just dip on it, then dip on it pan the
Depend
yai
it.
top.
Yes. Me
Um,
like it still. Me like it still.
Yeah. Yeah. So, we appreciate you for tuning in, watching, engaging. Please let us know in the comments if there's what movie or project, whether it's a series you want us to watch and review for next season. We are opening that up to you all. We've already gotten some suggestions. Babylon is one that we've gotten. And so in the comment, just send on your commentaries or your suggestions rather. And let us know. We've really enjoyed this. We're looking forward to catching up on watching stuff, telling you what we've been watching over the summer and whatever new projects that are coming up. So thank you for rocking with the reels to the rhythms. Maybe Michaela, we tell you about our concert goings because she not stop the road.
Maybe a bonus episode. Cause summertime.
Yeah, it's that
Bouncing and see
season.
me do it.
Listen,
Lord
no.
God. I can't deal. My pockets can't deal with it again, you know.
Everybody get back them visa, so you already know.
Hmm.
Say some peer things are going this summer.
Yeah,
So,
yeah. It's
but
good for the artist, but
yeah, yeah, not I and I pockets. But on that note, big up, enough respect, and thank you for tuning in to Reels and Redeems. Not till next time.
bye.
Later.
Later.